Welcome back to Cosmic Comics. The Serpent Crown's long and twisted tale through the Marvel Universe continues in the Avengers issue number 153. In this issue, Robert Frank, or Bob Frank as he's referred to here, the original Wizard, makes an appearance. Just to cover it real quick, we now have 3 Wizards whizzing about. We've got this one, Robert, call me Bob, Frank. We've also got James, call me Jim Sanders, who is a member of Squadron Sinister, and Stanley Stewart, member of Squadron Supreme. Anyway, Bob shows up to talk to the Vision and check in on his daughter Wanda. Note that for a time it was thought that both Wanda and her brother Quicksilver were the children of the Wizard, but it is later revealed to be Magneto. I'm not certain how they are going to work that out in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or if it'll ever really matter. While Vision is telling Bob where Wanda went, a strange line of purple light or something hits Bob in the eye. Mid-sentence, the man goes berserk. Bob proceeds to deck the Vision, flatten Iron Man, bring the ceiling down on Captain America, and cause a wall to collapse on Beast before snapping out of it and realizing that he thought he was fighting off his foes from the 1940s. He hears a sharp buzzing and doesn't realize he's just been brought down by Hank and Wanda Pym in their insect suits. They then move as a group to take the Wizard into medical custody. Upon arriving in the medical lab, they find the place trashed, and Wonder Man, whom was in their care, is gone. And I want to switch over to Wanda, the Scarlet Witch, who has taken a short leave of absence from the Avengers to do some soul-searching and reconnect with who she is. At some point while out and about, she remembers that after saving the alternate Earth of Squadron Supreme from the influence of the Serpent Crown, that when the Avengers returned to the Marvel 616 universe, Vision brought the Serpent Crown with him, but once they got back to the 616 universe, we never see what happened to the crown after that. So now we've got Wanda returning to recoup the Serpent Crown, which isn't really that good of an idea because the last time she touched it, it ended up influencing her and she had to end up having Vision carrying it. As soon as Wanda enters the building, she's shot down by a burst of light energy from an unseen assailant. Wanda barely lands her fall and realizes that she's not the only one who's searching the ruins of the abandoned site. And there it is, lying in the rubble. This is all pretty much Vision's fault, I would think, as he was assigned to carry and look after the crown. Even then, I would imagine that none of the Avengers can really be blamed or held responsible, as the crown itself is most likely the culprit here, exuding enough influence to make their minds forget that it even exists. In fact, the Scarlet Witch may just now be returning due to the crown reaching out to her and the fact that it has shown that it can influence Wanda in the past. In a real shocker, in his first appearance in over 6 years, the living Laser beams in. This is a character I need to do a more detailed profile on in the future, as eventually he seems to cross paths with a very large swath of the Marvel Universe. After some typical banter between hero and villain, Laser gets down to business, grabs the crown, and threatens to kill Wanda. His rock-solid reasoning behind her imminent death? Her continued existence might someday prove awkward for him. Damn, I'd hate to be this guy's ex-girlfriend. By now, the Brand Corporation's security forces have had time to sweep in, and these boys are confident and eager to take down the Avengers in a rematch. As becomes quickly evident, their confidence and eagerness were perchance a little misguided. Laser decimates them. Meanwhile, Wanda lies forgotten, left to observe how the Laser continues to rapidly glow brighter until at last he disappears. Wanda's left with a bunch of angry guards who are ready to get a W in their win column. Wanda seems to believe that if she told the guards the truth, that they wouldn't believe what's going on. I've got a different take on things. These guys are guards, and she's trespassing. In fact, she came here to retrieve stolen goods off of their property. This is after attacking numerous guards during her previous visit to this location, which nearly destroyed the facility. Wanda doesn't give talking the situation out a chance and does what one would expect of a trapped, thieving trespasser. She attacks. sending a seismic shock towards the guards in the already damaged facility. She follows this up by acknowledging that she reaps a frightening amount of violence over which she has very little self-control. While Wanda reflects upon the bodies on the floor, one guard still moves and manages to get a shot in against Wanda. And what's this? Wowza! He actually gets a hit. How often in comics do you actually see someone take a real hit from a bullet? I mean, this is a rarity. She just took out his whole crew, but this one guard gets a shot off and sends Wanda fleeing. The sight of her own blood snaps her out of her navel-gazing and forces her to realize she has to report on the Crown to the rest of the Avengers at once. Meanwhile, we find out where the living laser has disappeared to. He's arrived before Wonder Man, who, for reasons I really don't care to go into here, has recently been awakened from the dead as a Zuvumbi, which is a type of Marvel zombie, and has since slowly been showing signs of full recovery. Here, as the light of the living laser blinds him, we see him speak as a man for the first time since his recovery. The living laser steps forward and claims Wonder Man as his slave, and takes credit for causing the Wizard's violent outburst at the Avengers Mansion by making him hallucinate. The next page gives us the reason behind this meeting. The laser needs time to finish his plans, so he orders Wonder Man to destroy the Avengers. His exact words are to smash them beyond salvation. Cool. And then, the story passes itself off to Giant-Sized Avengers issue number 6. The story picks up pretty close to where it left off. The Avengers had just arrived with the Wizard to the med lab when suddenly Wanda teleports herself in, most likely coming here first so that she can receive treatment for her gunshot wound. She warns Vision about the crown, but passes out before she can tell him who has it in their possession. Vision's programming then kicks in and does what it always does whenever Wanda gets hurt. He overreacts, becomes overprotective, and generally acts like nobody else can understand what he's going through. The Beast takes off to find Wonder Man, while the rest of the Avengers attempt to find out what's up with the Wizard, but he blames it on old age and nothing else. Oddly, Wasp doesn't seem to believe Wanda's story about the crown, asking if perhaps Wanda was delirious in thinking that somebody stole it. I only take the time to point that out because that's just really, really weird. Is there some kind of dynamic here between these two that I'm just not privy to? If so, and you know about it, please let me know in the comment section below. Now it's time for some good old-fashioned make up some tech to fill in the backstory, or as I like to call it, must-fit BS. Unbeknownst to the reader, while Iron Man was on the alternate Earth S, he picked up a radioactive aura with his wrist radiometer and took a reading without thinking about it. Iron Man now feeds this radioactive signature into the appropriate satellite-controlled scanner, and he's capable of locating the Serpent Crown within the United States. It's currently heading west towards California. And without telling anybody else what's going on, or where they're going, Captain America and Iron Man both just decide to take off and try to take care of this problem by themselves. The story catches back up then with Beast, who's looking for Wonder Man, and we can tell by Wonder Man staying in the background and his orders from the previous issue that we are about to see a brawl. And sure enough, Wonder Man dives right in. Over the course of the battle, we learn that Wonder Man thinks it was the living laser that finally freed him from the years of darkness, and he's determined to defeat the Avengers and then rejoin the laser in California. The Beast then quickly knocks him out and takes off with Wonder Man over his shoulder due to a gathering crowd. The next chapter returns to Iron Man and Captain America, who are approaching a rogue military outpost that refuses to acknowledge any radio contact. As they come in for a landing, the soldiers open fire, destroying the Quinjet they rode in on. On their way to the ground, Iron Man and Captain America pull off this crazy off-the-tree shield ricochet thing that I don't think would ever work in real life, but it's pretty interesting and entertaining to see here in the comic. Captain America and Iron Man make short work of the soldiers, but of note in this fight is the fact that for the first time ever, Iron Man combines the repulsors of both hands into a more powerful single blast of energy. The soldiers back off after a show of force, and our heroes are told to get the answers to all of their questions. All they need to do is turn around. And zam! Too late! They have already been blasted. Turns out this surprise attack was part of the plan all along. The renegade general was working with the living laser who proudly sports the serpent crown. The two Avengers are then dragged into the house and given front row seats to the living laser's upcoming attack on Washington. Why? Doesn't the villain know what a horribly wrong move this is? For whatever reason, the laser decides to tell the room about the time Wasp rejected his love, and that because of that, he's going to make her his slave today. Wow, this guy just doesn't know when to let go. I mean, seriously, there are other women out there. And what's this? He's got Nuclo, who happens to be the Wizard's mentally challenged, extremely radioactive son, whom he's been looking for in a giant bubble. The living laser is kind enough to give the heroes and thus the reader some backstory on what led about to the current situation. He went to prison whereby he ran across a book, Legend of Lemuria, in which he read about the Serpent Crown. Upon his release from prison, he sought out the crown and was disappointed to hear that it had been destroyed in the confrontation between Nomad and the Serpent Squad, which I covered in one of the previous parts of this series. With one pathway to power shut down, the living laser used his knowledge of physics to imbue himself with the power to create images in people's minds or eyes. He also gave himself the ability to project laser blasts from his hands, which he previously needed a gun to do. Thus he informs us that he finally lives up to his name, the Living Laser. For some reason, he still sees the crown as a missing piece to his personal puzzle. And right as he's raving on and on about how perfect everything is, Beast comes in from behind, knocking the crown off his head. One of the bad guys needs to seriously invest in his chin strap for that thing. I mean, oh my goodness, the evil that would have ensued in the world if someone had just added a chin strap to the serpent crown. I mean, can you imagine, like, over and over and over again, this thing just gets knocked off of someone's head or just scooped away. I mean, it would be so awesome with just at least once when the Vision came in and swooped in, the guy's just, he just pulled up and the guy just got carried up by his neck. All right, I digress. Vision, the only one who appears to be capable of handling the crown, suddenly scoops it up before it hits the ground and immediately takes off to dispose of the crown forever. Awesome. This is great. I wonder where he's going to go. A volcano? Maybe all the way to the sun? Perhaps he knows of some secret destructive pocket dimension that'll rip it to shreds. All right, look, I can't wait. Let's just go ahead and jump ahead one issue and take a quick look. No, not dropping it into the ocean. No. You said you were going to destroy the damn thing. He has access to the Avengers files on the crown. There's no way he can think that this is a good idea. Not after the number of times this thing has been found after being forever lost on the ocean floor. Hence, I put forward the proposal that Vision, in fact, is not immune to the Serpent Crown and believe that this might be a direct result of the crown still exuding its influence. Driving home my point, Vision can't even drop off the Serpent Crown without being seen by a couple of Atlanteans, who quickly shoot the Vision down and take him captive. I mean, I really can't believe that the Vision would drop off the crown without at least bothering to stop and look around and go, hey, wonder if there's anybody else around here. So the crown sinks to the bottom of the ocean, and this wraps up the crown's portion of this story. As for the rest of the plot for this particular issue, the living laser ends up being defeated by the blast of Nuclo breaking free, and Nucleo himself is eventually stopped by his father the Wizard. Once again, we're left with 2 serpent crowns free upon Earth. Where will one show up next? Could somebody else track the crown in the same way that Iron Man and Captain America did? Will the Avengers use this satellite technology to keep track of it? Yeah, probably not. Until next time, feel free to hit any of the buttons below. I'm out.